Imagine waking up tomorrow. No phone, no internet, no music, no movies, no books, no one to text, no one to scroll through. Just endless forests. First, we need to understand what loneliness really is. Loneliness isn't simply being alone. It's feeling disconnected from other people. You can stand in a crowd and still feel completely alone. Or you can spend hours by yourself without feeling lonely at all. Those are two very different experiences, and ancient humans understood that difference better than we might expect.
Because humans didn't evolve to survive alone. We evolved in groups. A typical prehistoric band wasn't huge. It was more like one very large family. Everyone knew everyone. They hunted together, gathered food together, slept near the same fire, raised children together. Survival depended on staying connected. Being separated from the group could be incredibly dangerous, not just emotionally, but physically too. One person couldn't easily hunt large animals alone. They couldn't keep watch every hour of the night. They couldn't always protect themselves while sleeping. Even gathering food became much riskier. That's why belonging mattered so much. Your tribe wasn't just your friends. They were your best chance of staying alive.
But that doesn't mean ancient humans were never alone. Hunters often spent hours away from camp. Gatherers sometimes searched far beyond the campfire. Someone might even climb a hill just to look across the landscape. Being alone wasn't automatically a bad thing. Sometimes solitude had a purpose. It gave people time to think, to observe nature, and to return with new knowledge.
The real danger wasn't being alone for a while. It was being alone with no way back. Imagine losing sight of your tribe. As the sun begins to set, the familiar sounds of your people disappear, and suddenly the world feels much bigger. That's when loneliness could become fear. Not because humans hated solitude, but because they depended on each other. So, how did ancient humans actually fight loneliness? The answer often began with one simple invention: fire. During the day, people were constantly moving, hunting, gathering, building, preparing food. But when darkness arrived, everyone came back together. Night transformed the camp. The fire became more than warmth. It became a place to gather, a place to rest, a place to laugh, and perhaps a place to tell stories. Stories weren't just entertainment. They connected people and reminded everyone that they belonged. Imagine sitting around that fire. The day's work was finally over. Food had been shared. The children were listening quietly. Someone began speaking. Maybe about a successful hunt. Maybe about a dangerous animal. Or maybe about an ancestor everyone remembered. Every story carried more than words. It carried a feeling of belonging. But stories weren't the only thing that brought people together. Everyday work did too. Someone repaired a spear. Someone stitched animal hides. Someone shaped stone tools. And children watched everything. They weren't just passing time. They were learning how to survive. Every shared task strengthened the group, and it made loneliness a little harder to find. Of course, loneliness didn't completely disappear. Even in a close tribe, people still lost loved ones. Friends moved to other groups. Families sometimes became separated. Grief existed. Missing someone existed. Those emotions are much older than civilization. They are part of being human. But ancient people rarely had to face them completely alone. That's one of the biggest differences between their world and ours. Today, a person can live among millions and still feel invisible. Ancient humans had the opposite problem. Privacy was rare, but connection was everywhere. Every meal was shared. Every success belonged to the group.
Every loss was shared too. No one carried life's hardest moments entirely by themselves.
That doesn't mean ancient life was easier. In many ways, it was much harder. Food wasn't guaranteed. Winters could be brutal. Injuries were dangerous. Every day demanded teamwork, because surviving alone was almost impossible. Cooperation wasn't optional. It was the reason humans survived.
Scientists believe this deep need for connection is still inside us today. Our world has changed, but our brains haven't changed nearly as much. We still look for friendship. We still search for belonging. We still want someone to listen, someone who understands us. That's not a modern weakness. It's an ancient human instinct. And it may be one of the reasons our species survived.
So what can ancient humans teach us about loneliness today? Maybe the answer isn't as complicated as we think. Humans were never meant to face life completely alone. We were built to cooperate, to share, to help each other, to listen, and to simply spend time together. Sometimes that's all people really need. Not perfect lives, just meaningful connections.
Maybe that's the greatest lesson they left behind. They didn't have comfortable lives. They didn't have modern technology. They didn't have social media. But they had something many people still search for. A place where they belonged. People who knew their name. People who noticed when they were missing. People who were happy when they came home. And perhaps that's what every human has always needed. Even after thousands of years, we still gather in circles. We still tell stories. We still laugh together. We still comfort each other. And we still search for people who understand us. Maybe loneliness has always been part of the human story, but so has friendship. So has family. And so has hope. The next time you feel lonely, remember this. You're feeling something that millions of generations before you also felt. You're not the first person to wonder if anyone understands. Humans have always searched for connection, because that's how we survived. And maybe that's how we'll continue to survive in the future, too.
Ancient humans couldn't erase loneliness, but they refused to let it define them. Every evening, they came back together. They shared food. They shared stories. They shared silence, too. Sometimes no words were necessary. Just knowing someone was there was often enough.
Maybe that's the oldest human tradition of all. Finding your way back to the people who care about you. Again and again for thousands of generations. Long before cities. Long before written history. Long before the modern world. Humans kept choosing each other. And perhaps that's why we're still here today. If you enjoyed this journey into our past, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories about humanity, history, and evolution. See you in the next story.